to see the position that Europe is in right now. And I feel like even with the recent elections that we've seen this year, the message from people like Ursula von der Leyen, right, in the European Commission is we don't care, right? We don't care what the voters want. We don't care what your concerns are or, the worries that you're expressing to us at the ballot box. None of that matters. We're going to continue on with, this green transition, as they want to call it. We're going to continue on with the same immigration policies, the same policies of support for Ukraine, and the same condemning of, any kind of right-wing parties that they are acting like any support for those parties is going to lead to the end of Europe. What are there concerns, or I guess should there be concerns from the top leadership about any kind of backlash? Because to me, it seems like they really don't have any concerns right now. And I would be wondering if they would be kind of feeling the pulse from the public a little bit more right about now.
Well, you're absolutely right, because of course, you recall very specifically when Annalena Baerbock was, on some talk show, and this issue was raised about the unpopularity of Germany's Ukraine policy, and she said, "Well, I really don't care what Germans think. My only concern is Ukraine." She kind of blurted out what is implicit in much of European thinking, and Britain, which is now no longer in the EU, but the British ruling elite is also shares that line of thinking. We actually don't care what the people really think. So when you've got Keir Starmer, whose government is saying, "Well, we don't have any money for the elderly's winter allowance. There's just no money. It's just everything spent. There's nothing in the kitty for this money." But apparently, there's money for Ukraine. So he meets Zelensky and then writes out a check for Zelensky. Now that is already a demonstration of such arrogance, of such contempt for your own people, that it is, quite staggering. But the problem is, as in Britain and everywhere else, we have a kind of a political system that is actually rigged to maintain the rule of essentially politicians who are very unpopular. And this is what was happened in Germany. And we've had those two elections in the East. I think we talked about that before, the one in Turingia and in Saxony, where the Alternative for Deutschland did very well. They won in Turingia and came a close second in Saxony. And then on Sunday, there's going to be another election in Brandenburg, and the polls indicating that the AfD are going to win there as well. This is a real humiliation, because Brandenburg is a kind of social democratic stronghold, but they're going to win. Now, how does the elite respond to these victories by the AfD? And then there's also a left-wing populist movement that's also emerged in Germany, which is the Bündnis Sarah Wagenknecht, the Sarah Wagenknecht party. They're also doing very well. And, they respond, "Okay, well, what we're going to do is we're going to organize ourselves in order to keep them out of power. So that's it. We're just going to make sure that they're kept out of power." And then, of course, they do a little bit of cheating, not unlike what happens in the United States. So, for instance, in Turingia, the AfD did so well that, though they're obviously going to be kept out of power, but they got 33% of the seats in the state parliament, which enabled them to have some powers. They can block judicial appointments. They can block constitutional amendments. So then suddenly, a day after the election, said, "Oh, we miscounted. No, the AfD won one fewer seat, and the SPD and the Greens won one extra seat. So they don't have that 33% hold any longer." So that's really their go-to mentality, which is, well, we don't like these people. They're fascists, they're extremists, they're a threat. So we're just going to keep them out of power. And should they go on doing well in future elections, then we'll think about some other ways of repressing them, down to and including outlawing them altogether, which the German constitution allows. Unlike other constitutions, it just says, yeah, you can outlaw parties that the state deems to be extremist and a threat to democracy.
Oh wow. Yeah, that sounds like democracy, right? And it is